And just like that, we are back live on Keeping the Faith. I'm your host, JD. Thank you all for tuning in here tonight on this beautiful June Saturday evening. Got a lot to talk about tonight. A, a ton of 49er stuff we're going to dive into. First, apologies on the late start to the show. Had a gift, a Father's Day gift getting delivered by Amazon, and of course they had to be pulling up to the house, right around the time when I was getting ready to go live. Of course, they have to wait right until I'm about to go live, but we're here. We are ready to go. Like I said, I have a ton of 49ers topics that I want to discuss with you guys, the faithful, tonight. But first and foremost, how's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Because the 49ers offseason is officially over. Yes, the 49ers offseason is done. Finito. It's over because now all that's left is the time between today and the start of training camp. The offseason is over. It's a wrap. The next time you see the 49ers on the field, they will be engaged in training camp battles, preparing for their week 1 game against the Seattle Seahawks. Of course, preseason games. The season's here, people. It's here. The offseason is done. And I, for one, couldn't be more excited. Real quick, if you guys are here, make sure you drop your ones in the chat. Let me see who's here in the building tonight. Drop your ones. Also, do me a favor. Let me know if the audio's good, if the video's good, if it's a little laggy, internet quality issues, whatever. Let me know how things are looking, how they're sounding, because I've been having some issues with my internet provider. That's why I haven't been going live or dropping any videos recently. So I need to reach out to my internet provider again. It's a never-ending battle. It's a never-ending issue with internet providers, man. I swear. But I hope everyone is doing great. And I want to say what's up to everybody that's in the chat right now. So, like I said, drop your ones. Let me see who's here before we get into tonight's show. I see David Corona in the building. I saw Fazil in the chat earlier. What's up, David? What's up, Fazil? I see Eddie Gray in the chat saying the audio and video is solid right now. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. I see Crow in the chat. That's what I'm talking about. Appreciate you guys tuning in here on a Saturday night, a Father's Day Eve, if you will. Shout out to all the dads out there, man. If you're a dad, happy Father's Day tomorrow. Hope you guys, get everything that you want, which usually is just peace and quiet, right? That's what most dads want, just peace and quiet. Leave them the hell alone. But shout out to all the dads out there, man. Happy Father's Day tomorrow. But I know one thing a lot of dads want to talk about tonight, and that's 49er football. Because like I said, the offseason is over. No more minicamp, no more OTAs. The draft is well behind us. The scouting combine's done. Free agency's done. It's all done. From here on out, it is the 2025 NFL season. And I'm pumped the hell up. I can't wait. It's so close. I can almost smell the fresh cut grass down at the 49ers practice facility next to Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara. I can't wait. And, we still haven't gotten the official dates for training camp yet. We don't know when the open practices will be. But if any of you are going to be in attendance for those, let me know. I just might be there. I plan on attending at least a couple open practices this year. So if you're going to be there and you want to meet up, say what's up. Let me know. Let me know when you're going to be there. And I'll let you guys know when I'm going to be out there. And given the fact that I am a 49er season ticket holder, that means I will have first dibs, first access to training camp tickets. And if I can, I'm going to try and do a giveaway of a pair of training camp tickets this year. Sometimes it can be really difficult to acquire training camp tickets, even if you're a season ticket holder. So I'm going to try my best to get a pair of tickets that I can give away to somebody, preferably on a weekend. But we'll see. And we'll also see if they raise the prices. They tend to raise the prices now on training camp tickets. So we'll see how things go. But right now, the tentative plan is I want to give away a pair of training camp tickets to a lucky, loyal viewer of the show. So keep that in mind. And also, like I said, let me know who's going to camp and when once the dates are announced. Let me see if anyone else has chimed in the chat as of yet. I don't see anyone else quite in the chat yet, so don't be shy, guys. Drop your ones in the chat. Let me know who's here, and I'll say what's up to you as you guys trickle in here on a Saturday evening. So before we dive into the topics of the evening, because we got a ton of them, real quick. If you guys want to help support the channel and you want access to behind the scenes content, different ways to connect with me, an awesome community chat, and monthly giveaways, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/keepingthefaith. That's the one of the best ways you can help support this channel and also get more extra bonus 49ers content. So check out the Patreon, patreon.com/keepingthefaith for tons more 49er fun. I'm trying to grow that, man. And I'm also trying to get a fantasy football league going exclusive to Patreon members, but we need more Patreon members before we can do that. So check out the Patreon. I want to do a fantasy football league with a free cash prize to the winner. So check out the Patreon, sign up. You get, a ton of bonus content, and there's going to be a lot more stuff coming as we get into the season. So again, check out the Patreon. Anyhow, we will be taking calls tonight as well. Once I get through all the topics of the evening, I will be opening up the faithful phone line here, and it's, you guys are used to seeing it with a literal phone call. I used to have you guys call in on a phone number, but now since your boys learned StreamYard, we're going to do it on StreamYard. So it doesn't matter if you have your camera on or off. I figured that out last time I went live. I asked you guys to make sure your cameras are off, but we figured it out. So you guys can just come on StreamYard, and you won't be on camera, you won't be on screen, and we can chop it up. So when I do tell you guys about the phone line being open, that'll be your cue to hit the StreamYard link in the chat, which I will post a little bit later. But with that, let's go ahead and dive into the first topic of the evening here tonight. Look, the Niners wrapped up minicamp this week, and I have three major. Oh God, I hit another program. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I don't even know how I did that. I hit another loud music program on my computer. Gotta love it, man. Technical difficulties always here on Keeping the Faith. It never fails. Anyhow, as I was saying, the 49ers the 49ers closed minicamp this week, and I have three major takeaways from minicamp. Now, you've heard everyone break it down to this point. You've heard all about Bryce Huff. You've heard about the Niners offensive line. You've heard about the attendance at mandatory minicamp. You heard about Brandon Ayuk being there at minicamp. You heard how Brock Purdy looked. You heard how the rookies are looking, everything. We've heard it all. Everyone's broken it down. But I have three key takeaways, things that stood out to me from the Niners' recent minicamp, and I want to share those with you guys here tonight. My first takeaway, and I'm going to go from 3 to 1, 3 being, I guess, my least important takeaway, and 1 being my biggest takeaway. My third most important takeaway from the 49ers 2025 mandatory minicamp this week is the wide receiver battle between Jacob Cowing and rookie wideout Jordan Watkins. Every single day, you are hearing one guy's making plays. This guy's standing out. Today, it's Jacob Cowing. The next day, it's Jordan Watkins. I cannot wait. That is easily my top position battle to watch come training camp. I cannot wait to see how that pans out, because both those guys look like they are going to be ready to go and hit the ground running week 1 up in Seattle. The question is, who is it going to be? Because we all know Juwan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall are going to be your 1 and 2 when the Niners open the season in Seattle. Demarcus Robinson, in a perfect world, would be the number 3. However, he's likely facing a suspension early on in the year due to a previous DUI while with the Los Angeles Rams. So it's going to be, thrust upon Jordan Watkins and Jacob Cowing to compete for that initial third wide receiver role early in the season. And those guys are going back and forth every day. Uh, Look, I am absolutely ecstatic. I can't wait to go to camp and watch those guys compete and see who looks better when I'm out there, man. And I can't wait to read the camp reports from everyone, all the media that is in attendance. The Niners finally have some real speed and some guys that can separate at the wide receiver position. And even if whoever wins that battle, the other guy's still going to have a chance to contribute, man, because both those guys are looking that good. Now, of course, they are practicing virtually on air, no pads. The physicality is totally different. Things are going to look a lot different once the pads come on. So we'll see if all this progress and optimism translates once the pads come on. But I like what I've been seeing from Jordan Watkins and Jacob Cowing coming out of Santa Clara this offseason. And to me, that's a huge, huge takeaway from the Niners minicamp this week. The continued progression and hype surrounding Jordan Watkins and Jacob Cowing. Number two on my major minicamp takeaways, it's the offensive line. Suddenly, a position that many have bashed over the years, and rightfully so for various reasons, suddenly a position group that was viewed as a weakness and still, it's not going to necessarily be the strongest unit on the team, right? But suddenly, the offensive line is actually looking like it has some quality depth this year. I mean, if you listen to guys like Larry Krueger, you listen to guys like Dieter Kurtenbach of the Dieter and Hutch show here on YouTube. And real quick, Dieter Kurtenbach, to me, is probably my go-to guy for breaking down 49ers X's and O's. He knows his stuff. Dieter and Hutch, they know their stuff. Dieter Kurtenbach is a beat writer for the Niners with the San Jose Mercury News. And look, I'm listening to what those guys are saying because they break it down. They break down the tape. They really take the time and watch the tape. They study this. They know what they're talking about, man. And so when I hear guys like Dieter Kurtenbach say that Spencer Burford actually looked good at left tackle during minicamp, and right tackle Austin Pleasance is really making waves, and the coaching staff can't stop kind of raving about him, and Larry Krueger is echoing those same sentiments about Austin Pleasance. Look, I'm not going to discount those things. I am pleasantly surprised and encouraged about what I've been hearing regarding the 49ers' depth on the offensive line as we head into training camp. Some people seem to think potentially, Austin Pleasance could be your starting right tackle, which would allow Colton McKivitz, your current starting right tackle, to move to left guard. And from what we've heard this offseason, that's something that the 49ers have toyed with the idea of doing, moving Colton McKivitz to left guard. However, Ben Bartch has also been looking really solid at left guard. So suddenly you have a little bit of depth there because let's say hypothetically Austin Pleasance, once the pads come on, he still looks the part. He's still getting the job done. He's out there moving. He's out there pancaking guys. He's doing work, right? Let's just say Austin Pleasance becomes the 49ers starting right tackle. They can move Colton McKivitz to left guard. And if Jake Brendel is not playing up to snuff, Ben Bartch could play center too. So suddenly you have a ton of depth at a lot of worrisome spots. People have been wondering what's going to happen at left guard, right? Everyone seems to think it's going to be Ben Bartch, and I have no reason to think it's not going to be Ben Bartch at this point. But there's the potential that Austin Pleasance could start at right tackle, McKivitz could move to left guard, and Ben Bartch could be, a potentially like a swing guard center. He's played center in his career. He is scheme versatile that way. And if Jake Brendel struggles, Ben Bartch could end up being the 49ers center. And Spencer Burford, don't sleep on Spencer Burford because according to reports, he looked good at left tackle in the absence of Trent Williams during practices at minicamp this week. So a lot's going on. There's a lot of moving parts on the 49ers offensive line right now. And to me, it's a very encouraging sign that the depth behind the perceived starters is looking promising. Now, do we really know what's going on with the offensive line? No, we don't, because the pads aren't on yet. I mean, you heard it from Robert Saleh. You've heard it from the coaches, man. The pads aren't on yet. We really don't know much of anything quite yet, and we won't until the pads come on at training camp in July. But sitting here right now, what is it, June the 14th, 2025? I'm feeling pretty good about where things stand with the offensive line, and I'm very, very anxious to see how things pan out with that position group. Now, my number one takeaway, with the 49ers coming out of their mandatory minicamp. And if you've watched this stream the last few weeks, if you've watched when I've gone live the last few weeks, I'm gonna think you guys know where I'm going. Okay, my number one takeaway from the 49ers coming out of minicamp is that Brandon Ayuk is still salty and still holds a grudge and still has beef with Kyle Shanahan. We've talked about the social media stuff on here. We've talked about all that Brandon Ayuk stuff over the last several weeks. I'm not going to dive all into that. You can go back and watch the previous streams for that. But everything that we talked about is still a thing. Brandon Ayuk is still salty towards Kyle Shanahan. And that was backed up basically with proof from 49ers beat writer Matt Barrows, who appeared on the Steiny and Guru show this week on 95.7 The Game. They asked him about just that. And here's a quote from Matt Barrows on 95.7 The Game. They asked him about it, and he says, actually, no, I'm sorry. I'll phrase the question to you. Here's what the question was. Okay, never mind. The quote from Matt Barrows. I wrote it down here, reading my notes. Bear with me. The quote from Matt Barrows. Is all the water under the bridge settled between the 49ers and Brandon Ayuk from last year? I don't know about that. End quote. That was Matt Barrows to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game this year. He also referenced his podcast partner, Tim Kawakami, on the 49ers Plus Minus podcast, saying that there are still a lot of hurt feelings on Ayuk's part with how things have gone between he and the organization, and particularly he and Kyle Shanahan. So it's coming out of Matt Barrows' mouth at this point. We can try and decipher what Brandon Ayuk is posting on social media. I think we all have a good idea at this point that Brandon Ayuk is still mad and still has beef with Kyle. I think we can safely say that, right? But when you have a beat writer come out and confirm it, I mean, it's still an ongoing problem. How can you get paid and still be mad, Brandon? It's professional sports, man. Like, I don't know. The talk is that he's upset with Kyle because he hasn't been coddled or treated the same way as other players on the Niners, particularly like Deebo Samuel. We all know Deebo and Kyle Shanahan were very tight. Kyle seems to be coaching Ayuk a little bit harder. Some would argue the fact that, coaches need to learn how to get the best out of each of their players and coach each player on an individual basis, like learn how to push each player's buttons in a certain way to get the most out of them. And it seems like the way Kyle Shanahan coaches Brandon Ayuk, Ayuk doesn't appreciate it. He doesn't appreciate the way Kyle Shanahan coaches him, and it's just an ongoing problem. It's just an ongoing issue. And will it be a continuing theme of the season? I certainly hope not. I hope once Ayuk gets back on the field, he's able to be all about his business, be professional, go out there and make plays. Because at the very least, if he wants to get traded, he has to come out and rehab his image and give teams the idea that he can still play. Because coming off that major knee injury, there are a lot of questions surrounding Brandon Ayuk. So when it comes time to get out between those white lines, man, Brandon Ayuk's got to put all that behind him and make plays. And that's going to help the 49ers on the field. And that's going to help Brandon Ayuk's trade stock if Ayuk ultimately wants a trade, or if the 49ers decide that all that baggage is too much and they want to move on. So also regarding Brandon Ayuk, a little follow-up there. Matt Barrows made an additional interesting statement regarding Brandon Ayuk when he was on 95.7 The Game, saying that it is likely that Brandon Ayuk will return to the field in late September or early October because he is ahead of schedule in his rehab from his knee surgery, and that's a good sign. A lot of people were thinking November, Thanksgiving, December, late season return. A lot of the talk had been, when is Brandon Ayuk going to come back? But to hear Matt Barrows say that Brandon Ayuk is ahead of schedule in his rehab and potentially will be back on the field in late September, early October, that's a really good sign, and potentially a huge boost to the 49ers offense if he is ready to contribute and hit the ground running. So I don't know how we feel about that after what I just mentioned regarding Ayuk. It's confirmed that he's still upset, but if Ayuk has his head on straight, man, we know what kind of player he is. So hopefully they can put it to bed. Hopefully, bygones can be bygones, and Brandon Ayuk can get back out there and make plays for the 49ers. That would be, the best for all parties involved. So let's see what you guys are saying in the chat before we move on to our next topic of the evening. I hope you guys can hear me. I hope everything's still good, because we're not getting a ton of chat participation. So do me a favor, guys. If you're here, make sure you let yourself be known in the chat. I want to say what's up to everybody. I don't want to miss anybody. So again, and I was having some technical difficulties with the audio and the video. So if you guys are here, let yourself be known in the chat. Let me know if things are sounding good, looking good. I would really appreciate it. I see Mark Scott 49er in the chat. What's going on, Mark? Appreciate you for tuning in, man. Thank you for typing in the chat. Hope you guys can hear me and see me okay. I think we're good. And again, I will be opening up the phone line here in a minute. I'll give you guys the StreamYard link shortly, and we can take some calls later on in the show. I want to get your guys' thoughts on your takeaways from minicamp and the other topics that we're going to discuss. So let's move ahead, shall we? The second topic that I want to discuss with you guys, now that the Niners are, the offseason's over and they're getting prepared for training camp in July, where does this team currently stand in terms of the roster? Is there anybody out there that the 49ers can go out and acquire that would help them immediately? Is there a position group that you want to see the 49ers target between now and the start of training camp, between now and the start of the regular season? I have a couple groups that of concern and a few names that I want to give you guys at a couple different positions that I think could help the 49ers in key spots. And I want to give you my reasons why. So let's start it off with the safety position. Malik Mustafa. We don't know if he's going to be ready by week one. We don't know exactly when he's going to be back. Jair Brown had surgery recently. He will be back for training camp, according to Kyle Shanahan, but he's coming off a down year, and he's not a sure thing in the 2025 season. So with where the 49ers currently stand at safety, I would not be mad if they went out on the veteran safety market and acquired a free agent to come in. And I have a couple names that I want to mention to you guys, and maybe you guys can give some of your own in the chat or when you call in later. The first name I want to mention is Justin Simmons, formerly of the Atlanta Falcons, the 31-year-old, 10-year veteran. He had 2 interceptions a season ago with the Atlanta Falcons. He's a savvy vet, man. He might not be the ball hawk, the athlete that he was earlier in his career, but he's not going to lose you games. Think like a Tashawn Gibson sort of impact on this team. A veteran guy who's going to be in the right spot, get everyone else lined up in the right spot, knows the game, and is, like I said, he's not going to hurt you. I think Justin Simmons could potentially be a very steady presence for the 49ers at the safety position if they choose to acquire someone in that position group between now and training camp. Given the fact that he's still out there at this point, I wouldn't think he'd be very expensive. And the Niners still have a ton of cap space, so money's not really the issue. So I think Justin Simmons could be a very smart pickup for the Niners if they choose to address that position. And then another guy that I have, and a lot of other Niner fans have this guy circled, is Julian Blackmon, former Indianapolis Colts safety. He is only 26 years old. He played with the Indianapolis Colts while current 49ers assistant coach Gus Bradley was their defensive coordinator. So he's familiar with Gus Bradley. He's going to be familiar with how things are run here. And the Niners were interested in Blackman a year ago. They had a workout or an interview with him a year ago. He ultimately chose to return to the Colts instead of coming to the 49ers. But you would have to think if the Niners were interested a year ago, they're probably still interested now. In 2024, he posted career highs with a 69.3 overall defensive grade, according to Pro Football Focus, and a 73.5 coverage grade, while logging 1,083 defensive snaps last year. So Julian Blackman, being 26 years old in his prime, he's a fit for the defense. He's familiar with Gus Bradley. Again, another guy who is still available and probably wouldn't be that expensive, would be an upgrade at the safety position for the 49ers, given how things are currently standing in that safety room. So those are just a couple names I wanted to throw you guys at the safety position. Another position I want to see the 49ers at least inquire about, see who's out there, is defensive tackle. Yeah, I know they've rebuilt the defensive line. I know they have a ton of bodies on that defensive line. But at defensive tackle, I feel like they're one injury away from panic mode. You know, the prevailing thought is that Alfred Collins and CJ West are going to be your two starting defensive tackles this year. At least that's the hope. But Alfred Collins hasn't even gotten on the field yet due to a foot injury, right? And we still don't know very much about the injury. Yes, Kyle Shanahan said that Alfred Collins should be back and ready by training camp and ready to go. But he's a big dude, and we know how big guys are when it comes to foot injuries, man. Those things can be nagging. Those things can be chronic, and let's hope that's not the case for the rookie. But to me, I feel like they're one injury away at defensive tackle from, hitting the panic button a little bit. And I want to see this team go out and get a veteran defensive tackle. Yes, they have Evan Anderson. Yes, they have Kevin Givens. Yes, they have Jordan Elliott. But do those guys really do anything for you? Evan Anderson intrigues me, right? But Jordan Elliott, Kevin Givens, not so much. Not so much. I don't have any free agents that stand out to me at this very moment, but the Niners have gone out on the trade market and acquired guys. They went and got Malik Collins last year, So maybe they sniff around the trade market and go acquire a defensive tackle that way. But I want to see the Niners go out and get a legitimate veteran defensive tackle. He doesn't have to be a Pro Bowler. He doesn't have to be, a top tier guy, but just a steady force, a veteran guy that I just want another veteran presence on the interior at defensive tackle for this team. And I'll feel a heck of a lot better about that position group. And then the last position I could see the 49ers potentially going after is cornerback. The outside corners are set with Diamador Lenore and Renardo Green, and a lot is up for grabs. Other than that, we don't know who the backups are necessarily going to be. You've heard good things about Trey Avery and Trey Brown, and you've heard about Upton Stout making plays in camp. But do the Niners? How do they feel about their cornerback spot? That's one thing I really am looking forward to seeing come training camp is how the cornerback spot shapes up. And I could see the Niners potentially sniffing around the cornerback market because, again, an injury there to either Diamador Lenore or Renardo Green, and the Niners are in trouble. So maybe you go after a guy like an Asante Samuel, formerly of the Los Angeles Chargers, 25 years old. He did only play 4 games in 2025 due to a shoulder injury and also had neck surgery this offseason. But I think he'd be a low-risk, high-reward at this point. He's a talented player, and he's only 25. So if Asante Samuel is right, if he's good to go, if he's, if the doctors give him the okay, and he can come here on a deal that isn't going to, break the bank, Asante Samuel Jr., to me, would be a solid pickup. Another guy I have my mind or my eyes on, and this is a guy that I've always liked. I've always liked this player for several years, and this goes to the nickel corner spot, not on the outside. This is strictly a nickel corner guy. If Upton Stout proves to be maybe a little too small, maybe he needs to add some muscle, maybe they don't feel good about that spot, they could go out and maybe go get a guy like Mike Hilton. I've always really respected Mike Hilton's game. He's a physical corner. He's tough. He's always up around the line of scrimmage, making plays in the run game. He's always around the football, man. He just makes plays. He's just a playmaker. He's always been that way. He reminds me a lot of K'Wan Williams. The Niners love Upton Stout. They drafted him because he reminds them of K'Wan Williams. But Mike Hilton also reminds me a lot of K'Wan Williams. And in 2024, he was the number one rated corner against the run. And what has the Niners' focus been this offseason? Acquiring guys who can stop the run. And Mike Hilton in 2024 was the number one cornerback against the run, according to Pro Football Focus, with a 91.4 overall grade in that department. So if you want to bolster that run defense even more, go and get a guy like Mike Hilton. He also had a 75.9 overall grade, which was good to be the 24th ranked cornerback in the NFL last year. Not bad considering most teams play three corners most of the time. So I'll take the 24th ranked corner considering that most teams play three guys a significant chunk of the time. He was also had a 68.5 grade in coverage, which was good for 55th overall. Again, there's a ton of cornerbacks that play in this league. So, maybe a one-year flyer on a guy like Mike Hilton. If you're not liking what you're seeing at the nickel corner spot, go and get a veteran, a guy that makes plays. And, what helps the secondary is a good pass rush. So if the Niners can get after the quarterback, it's going to make the secondary's job a heck of a lot easier. And guys like Mike Hilton, they make plays, man. So maybe Mike Hilton's a guy they would kick the tires on. I would like it. I really would, because you're set on the outside with Diamador Lenore and Renardo Green. So if you have questions about the nickel corner spot before week one and Mike Hilton's still available, I wouldn't be mad at the 49ers going after Mike Hilton. Yeah, I know he's 31, but just a one-year deal. The dude makes plays, man. He's always made plays. And the last one, this one's going to throw you guys for a little bit of a loop. This one is out of left field. And this one, look, would the Niners do this? Probably not. But hear me out. Another cornerback that I would not mind the 49ers taking a swing on is Jack Jones. Yeah, I know he's a little bit crazy. Yeah, I know he got kicked off two teams already. The Patriots and the Raiders both said they didn't want him because he's got, character concerns. But Jack Jones is a baller. He's a playmaker, man. Yes, he's a gambler. He would excel on a team that has a really good pass rush, but I like Jack Jones. He's 27 years old, man. He's still in his prime. And he's always been a really talented player. He's a ball hawk. We saw what he did against Patrick Mahomes before. And if you're trying to beat the Chiefs at any point, I think having Jack Jones wouldn't be a bad thing, right? But I like Jack Jones. I know he's not the character guy that the Niners would necessarily go after. But look, I'm tired of this team only going after choir boys, man. Having one or two guys who are rough around the edges with this veteran locker room, with this veteran coaching staff, it wouldn't bother me. And it would be a low risk thing. If he acts up, if there's any problems, cut his ass, right? Maybe you go after Jack Jones. There's potential there. There's talent there, man. I wouldn't be mad if the 49ers took a big swing on a guy like Jack Jones. Will it happen? Probably not. But I wouldn't be mad at it. I'll put it that way. So let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Hope you guys are enjoying the show here tonight. Jim Everett, the great Rams fan, of course, in the chat says, Kupp cooked K'Wan Williams. Yeah, well, Cooper Kupp's not a Ram anymore, buddy. So hope your team has a corner that, can cook somebody. Well, a receiver, whatever. You get my point. Shut up. You're a Rams fan. I don't care. Go watch a Rams channel. Mark Scott in the chat says, will Kyle start a rookie? It's not up to Kyle to start a rookie on defense. That's going to be up to Robert Saleh. And I could see Upton Stout taking the reins at nickel corner. I mean, they drafted him and said he reminds them of K'Wan Williams. So as long as he can hold up and deal with the physicality of the NFL at his small size, Upton Stout, will more than likely be your nickel corner this year to start the year. But I wouldn't be mad if they went out and acquired someone, Let's see what else we got in the chat. Oh, Jalen Ramsey. Mark Scott in the chat says Jalen Ramsey. There's a lot of talk about Jalen Ramsey getting traded from the Dolphins, but potentially his next team, he'll be a safety at this juncture of his career. A lot of insiders are saying that Jalen Ramsey could transition to safety now. Maybe the Niners could acquire Jalen Ramsey and play him at safety. They have a need at that position. I wouldn't be mad at that. I really wouldn't. And in a pinch, could he move down and play corner? Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at a Jalen Ramsey pickup. That's for sure. But we'll see. It all depends on compensation and what Jalen Ramsey wants in his next team. But I wouldn't be mad at that. What up, Papa J? Papa J says, "What up, Niner fan?" I forget I can show the comments. I'm still learning StreamYard, guys. I'm still working with StreamYard, getting used to it. And Papa J in the chat says, "What up, Niner fan?" That's what I'm talking about. Shout out to Papa J for tuning in this evening. Now, I have one more topic I'm going to get to, and then I'm going to open up the phones to you guys, and I will drop that StreamYard link shortly. And I'll take your calls about any of the topics we've discussed tonight, and really anything you guys want to get into. It's all, it's all about the faithful on this show. This show is where the faithful matter. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. So we can talk about the topics I've discussed here tonight or anything that's on your mind. But I got one more topic I want to get into, and I think it's a good one. I've been thinking about it, and look, I don't know if it's crazy for me to think this, but I think the 49ers defense in 2025 could potentially be reminiscent of that vaunted, stellar, standout defense led by Robert Saleh in 2019. Yeah, I said it. Because I see the vision. Now that the draft is over, now that they went out and acquired Bryce Huff, I see the vision. I see what Robert Saleh is doing, and what he is doing is cooking. He is cooking, and the way this defense is looking to me is almost a carbon copy of what the 49ers did in 2019 when they had the best defense in the NFL. Now, of course, Robert Saleh has mentioned it. He's grown as a defensive play caller since then. There are new things, new wrinkles to the scheme, and we will see all that play out. But in terms of the personnel and the way he's going to deploy them and the roles that they're going to play, I see them working. I see what the Niners are doing, and it really reminds me of that 2019 49ers defense. I'm going to break it down level by level, and I'll try and be quick, but so we can open up the phones and talk to you guys here tonight. But in the secondary, at the safety position, in 2019, the Niners had Jimmy Ward and Jaquiski Tartt. Jimmy Ward was I wouldn't call him a ball hawk, but he was a rangy safety. He made a lot of plays on that back end for the 49ers. Jaquiski Tartt, solid. Not amazing, but solid, right? This year, the 49ers are looking at maybe not week one due to injuries, but they're looking at, if all things are equal and the guys are healthy, you're looking at Jair Brown and Malik Mustafa at safety for the 49ers this year. I think Malik Mustafa is a better player than Jaquiski Tartt. I don't know if it's a stretch to say that. Maybe I'm wrong, especially coming off the injury. We don't know how Malik Mustafa is going to perform necessarily out the gate. But I think in a nutshell, I think Malik Mustafa is a better player than Jaquiski Tartt. I think he's more rangy. I think he's better in coverage. I think he's a harder hitter. I like Malik Mustafa a lot more than I liked Jaquiski Tartt back then in 2019. Now, Jair Brown, you're not gonna get an argument with me there. Jimmy Ward is clearly, obviously, a better player than Jair Brown. But Jair Brown did some good things his rookie year. He had some ball hawk in him his rookie year. And maybe the Niners, like I said, maybe they go after a safety in the free agent market, right? They could do that. They could shore up that safety group. But as it stands, it might be a wash if you're comparing 2019 and 2025. Because like I said, I think Malik Mustafa is better than Jaquiski Tartt. But that's just me. Moving along to the cornerbacks, right? So in 2019, the 49ers had Richard Sherman and Emmanuel Mosley on the outside with some Ahkello Witherspoon mixed in when he wasn't in the doghouse. We all remember that. And, of course, K'Wan Williams at the nickel spot. A very solid cornerback group for the 49ers in 2019. But in 2025, you have Diamador Lenore and Renardo Green on the outside. And hey, I'll take the 2025 outside corners. I would. I would take Diamador Lenore and Renardo Green on the outside over Richard Sherman and either Emmanuel Mosley or Akella Witherspoon. I think on the outside, I think 2025 is better than the 2019 group. Yes, Richard Sherman had a veteran presence and made a ton of plays and really helped this defense, right? But just overall, as a tandem, I think Diamador Lenore and Renardo Green are leaps and bounds better than Richard Sherman and either Emmanuel Mosley or Akella Witherspoon on the outside. Those guys were zone corners in 2019. This group is going to play a lot more man and they can also play zone, right? I think the outside corners that the 49ers defense has in 2025 is a lot better than what they had in 2019. Now, nickel corner, okay. Obviously, K'Wan Williams is a better player because we don't even know who the starting nickel is going to be at this point. But again, they drafted Upton Stout, and on draft night, they said Upton Stout reminded them of K'Wan Williams. So if they get K'Wan Williams 2.0 with Upton Stout, hey, I'm going to give, obviously, the advantage to the 2019 defense because K'Wan was a proven entity at that point. But I see them working. I see them cooking, So, look, again, the safety position could be a wash between 2019 and 2025. Outside corners, I'm giving the edge to the 2025 defense. Nickel, okay. K'Wan's got that. But if Upton Stout shows the potential that they've talked about, look out. Look out, 49er fans. And now we move on to the linebacker position. And then this is an interesting one. You guys are going to maybe agree, maybe disagree. I don't know. But in 2019, the Niners linebackers were Fred Warner and Quan Alexander, at least initially, with some Azeez Al-Shaair sprinkled in, even though he barely played in 2019. And he was not the Azeez Al-Shaair that we were familiar with, that we all, appreciate here in the 2025 calendar year, right? We know what kind of player Azeez Al-Shaair is now, but in 2019, he was not that guy. And going into the 2019 season, they liked Dre Greenlaw. Niner fans had hopes for Dre Greenlaw. He showed flashes early, but nobody knew what he was going to turn into late in that 2019 season, right? Now, ultimately, yes, Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw became that duo, right? They became that duo and played for several seasons together. We know the history. That 2019 linebacker group, Quan Alexander got hurt, was out for a huge chunk of the year, but he played a huge part in instilling the culture that the 49ers have now in that linebacker room. You still hear them talking about, best in the world, be legendary, all that, the stuff that Quan Alexander used to preach when he was here. And that 2019 group did eventually become extremely special. But in 2019, you had Fred Warner and you had an injured Quan Alexander, and Dre Greenlaw emerged late in the year, but coming in, you didn't necessarily know Dre Greenlaw was going to be that guy. We didn't know Dre Greenlaw was going to turn into Dre Greenlaw like he did later in the season. And that reminds me a hell of a lot about this 2025 linebacker group. Because in 2025, Fred Warner, the common denominator, Fred Warner, and I would think Fred Warner at this stage is a better player than he was in 2019. I don't think that's a stretch. And next to him is either going to be D. Winters or Nick Martin. And both of those guys, there's a lot of questions about, right? Both of those guys are undersized players, similar to Dre Greenlaw. And we'll see how they perform. But those guys are rangy and athletic, a lot like Dre Greenlaw. Let's see how they play against the run when those pads come on. But again, you have Fred Warner and you have an unproven guy next to him. And I don't know. There's some similarities there. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not saying that D. Winters or Nick Martin are going to be better than Dre Greenlaw. All I'm saying is the two position groups are eerily similar in how things are kind of looking entering the season. entering 2025, entering 2019, I see similarities. That's all I'm going to say. I see similarities, and I'm not going to be the one to discredit Robert Saleh's knowledge of the linebacker position. I said it before the draft. Whoever Robert Saleh picks at the linebacker position, I'm going to trust Saleh's judgment. And he took Nick Martin in the 3rd round. And of course, you're hearing in OTAs and minicamp, D. Winters is making a lot of plays. You're also hearing Nick Martin is flying around the football field. So there's a lot to be encouraged about in that linebacker room heading into training camp. And all I'm saying is I'm seeing some similarities of this 49er linebacker group entering 2025 that I did with the Niner linebacker group entering the 2019 season. And then we get to the defensive line. In 2019, look, I mean, Nick Bosa, DeForest Buckner, DJ Jones, Eric Armstead, D Ford, that defensive line was amazing. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing, right? But look what the Niners did in this draft, in this offseason. Everything that they did is eerily similar to how things looked in 2019. You still have Nick Bosa, right? That's the common denominator, just like Fred Warner. You have Nick Bosa here in 2025, just like you did in 2019. But then you go and you get Alfred Collins, whose role on this defense, if he is healthy, is going to be very similar to that of DeForest Buckner. Be that huge mass of humanity on the interior of the defensive line who can take up double teams and based on his size and strength alone will command a good share of double teams and allow everyone else on that defensive line to get one-on-ones and get after the quarterback. I see what Robert Saleh and this 49ers defense is cooking up with Alfred Collins at defensive tackle. Now, is he going to be the pass rusher that DeForest Buckner was? Probably not. But his role on this defensive line is going to be very similar to that of DeForest Buckner if he's just able to stay on the field and stay healthy. Then you move next to him with CJ West. Everyone's compared CJ West to DJ Jones. So I'm not going to waste too much time there. They're very similar, very stout, very strong, very athletic for their size, good pass rush ability, violent hands, strong against the run. CJ West, DJ Jones, very, very similar comps. You see the Niners working. And now, of course, Michael Williams. This is where it gets interesting. Because in 2019, Eric Armstead was that guy who played a ton on the edge, especially in early rundowns. And then on pass rush situations, they moved him inside to defensive tackle and let him get after the quarterback. What have we heard all offseason since the draft about Michael Williams? The exact same thing. Michael Williams is going to fill that Eric Armstead role for the 49ers in 2025. The similarities are crazy. Like, I see what Robert Saleh is doing, and I'm loving it, man. I'm absolutely loving it. And that doesn't even include Bryce Huff, who has that get off just like D Ford. Maybe not quite the same as D Ford, but very close. Kyle Shanahan during minicamp even went as far as to say Bryce Huff has the best get off of any defensive end opposite Nick Bosa on this roster since D Ford. So when I say that this 2025 defense could potentially, resemble that 2019 49ers defense led by the same defensive coordinator, Robert Saleh, 2019, 2025. I don't think I'm that crazy. Now, is it going to be that exactly that good? Probably not. But all I'm saying is I'm extremely, extremely excited to see how this shakes out because I see the vision, I see the image, and I don't know. I see the blueprint. Robert Saleh, I see the blueprint, man. I see the ingredients. You're cooking down there in Santa Clara. And I don't think the defense is going to be as much of an uncertainty as some may think. I think you're going to see shades of 2019 in this 2025 49ers defense. Call me crazy. Let me know your thoughts. So let's see what you guys are saying in the chat there as I broke down my last topic. Maybe you guys are saying, JD, you're stupid. JD, you don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. Papa J in the chat says Malik the Lot Mustafa. Malik he's my dude, man. I can't wait to see him get back on the field. Let's see. Papa J again. Stout is going to ball out. I agree, man. I agree. I'm with you. Let's see. Let's see what else is going on in the chat. Papa J again giving love to D Winners. I'm excited. Whether it's D Winners or Nick Martin, I don't care. I just want one of them to ball out. I don't care who it is. I'll be honest with you. CJ West is going to be badass also. Absolutely. He might have been, my favorite pick in this draft for the Niners. He really might have been my favorite overall pick for the Niners in this draft. I'm pumped on CJ West. Can't wait to see him play this preseason. Papa J again with a great comment. Defense, problem solved. Well said. Well said, Papa J. Diehard 49ers for life says, the Niners are going to be fire. I meet up with Trent Williams today. You met up with Trent Williams today? Hold on. Okay, details. I need information. What do you mean you met up with Trent Williams, man? I need to hear what that's about. Drop some comments, man. You can't just say that and not give any details, dude. What do you mean you met up with Trent Williams today? Come on. Can't leave me hanging like that. I got to know. All right. Let's go ahead and open up the faithful phone line via the StreamYard link. And I want to hear from you guys. What do you think? What are your big mini camp takeaways? What positions do you want the 49ers to potentially target before they enter training camp in July? And do you think I'm crazy to compare the 2025 49ers defense to the 2019 49ers defense? Let me know. I'm going to post the link in the chat right now. Diehard 49ers for life says, I got a picture with him. How'd you get a picture with him? Where'd you see him at? Today, man? I'm interested. Uncle Shaggy in the chat says, hello, faithful here. First time here. Well, hey, don't let it be your last time, man. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you for tuning in this evening. Papa J says, Trent signed his baseball card. That's all. Yeah, but I want to know, how did you meet him? How did you meet Trent Williams? I'm anxious to see. Let me go ahead and get the StreamYard link to you guys in the chat. I want you guys to call in, man. So there's the StreamYard link. You guys are welcome to click that link and join. I want to hear from everybody tonight. What are your thoughts on the topics that we've discussed tonight? And we can also hit on whatever else is on your mind. So hit the StreamYard link, get backstage here on the live stream, and I'll bring you up and we can talk some 49ers football. I can't wait for training camp to get here, guys. I don't know if you can tell or not, but I'm hyped, and I'm just anxious to see how this defense looks. That's where I'm going to have all my eyes this training camp and preseason. How does the defense look? We know the offense is going to be solid, right? How's that defense going to look? I'm really, really anxious to see how all that plays out. I'm really excited for that position group. Diehard 49ers fan says, friends with his dad. He came to Texas today. He's from Longview. That's awesome, man. That's cool. That's awesome. If I'd have known, man, I would have told you to tell him, hey, check out Keeping the Faith on YouTube. Come on his show. Shout out to you for meeting Trent Williams today. That's cool. Quick story. Christian McCaffrey is actually going to be hosting a youth football camp tomorrow, Father's Day morning, not too far from me. So that's pretty cool. I don't have a kid to go there, so I'm not going, but I thought about it. I thought about just going and trying to meet Christian, man. I thought that'd be cool. He's like going to be like 20 minutes from me. Maybe I will. We'll see how I feel in the morning. But Christian McCaffrey is going to be right up the road from me tomorrow. So that'd be pretty cool. But again, the StreamYard link is posted in the chat. So if you guys want to join, I would encourage you to do so. I'll post it again, StreamYard link. And if there's any moderators that are here, feel free to pin that StreamYard link to the chat for me. I would appreciate that so I don't have to keep posting it. But I hope everyone's doing great, man. We've been live for about an hour. I've been talking my damn head off. But now I want to talk to you guys. So hit the link. Don't be a stranger. I really want to talk to the faithful. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Let's see. All right. Niners all day. You are live with JD, man. What's going on? What's on your mind tonight?
Hey, man, like I was saying, his dad, I'm good friends with Trent Williams' dad, Fred. He swung by Longview, where I'm at today, and got some pictures, got some autographs, and he should be back by in a couple of weeks.
Oh, man. That's awesome. How did you like run into him? Where'd you see him at?
Well, he went to go visit his dad. I'm like, hey, man, I want to meet Trent. So he brought Trent over, and I got to meet up with Trent, and got some pictures and stuff, and met Trent Williams' girlfriend and everything.
Wow, that's awesome, dude. That's crazy. That's cool. Hell yeah. Wow. Well, so what's on your mind with these Niners, man? What's interesting you coming out of minicamp and as we head into training camp, man? What's on your mind with these Niners?
Well, they're going to be fire, and they're going to surprise some people what's coming.
Yep.
I mean, we're going to probably lose a few games. We shouldn't, but win a lot of games. I'll tell you what. A lot of people, only thing is, I'm not going to put someone on blast, but someone thinks that the Super Bowl is going to be held in New Orleans this year, but it's in Santa Clara.
Mm-hmm.
And, I had to correct them, and they got upset. But, hey, they did do their looking at it, and, So,
for sure.
I just look for us to possibly win it all this year.
I like it, man. I like where your head's at. Hey, if you get something like a mini helmet signed by Trent, dude, I'll pay you for the mini helmet, bro. Like, let me know. Come, don't be a stranger.
Hey, man, I'll probably get a hat signed, but I do got a mini helmet. If you give me a second, I'll show you. I got actually not a mini, but a big one, and I got a signature. Give me a minute.
Let me see this. I don't have them on screen. You guys aren't going to see it because I'm not bringing guys up on screen, but I'm looking at him backstage. He's going to show me the mini helmet.
Give me just a moment, brother.
Sure. Do your thing. And Michael, I see you backstage as well, man. Keep hanging on. I'll get to you here shortly. I want to see what he's talking about here.
Right here.
I want to see. Let's see. Oh, that's cool. Wow. You guys can't see it on the screen, but I can see it backstage. That's cool, man. Hell yeah. Well, hey, Niners all day, man. Don't be a stranger, man. Let me know next time you talk to Trent, man. Come through next time.
Hey, man, if you shoot me the info, I can shoot you some pictures of them and, me with them. I'm not going to put my face on the page, but, if you do private, I'll be happy to show you. But if you want to get a hat and stuff, and I can get a hat because I'll probably see him again, I'll get a sign and hit you up, man.
All right. What I'm going to do, I'm going to be making a Twitter account for this channel soon. And I'll mention it on the page on the YouTube here, and we can get in touch that way.
Yeah, I need to get in touch with you, whatever you can, man. I get a lot of goodies, but I'm gonna tell you the team's gonna be fire. Be ready for some beautiful things, and even if things don't go good during the season, just hold your head up, be faithful. We're gonna win it all. That team has got their head on the right place, and I'm gonna tell you something. What I've seen today. You'll be excited.
Let's go. I like it, man. Hey, have
Niners
a great
all
evening,
day.
Man.
They're going to win. They're going to win it all, guys.
Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you, man, for tuning in. I appreciate you. Okay. Oh, and now let's go to Michael. Michael, you are now live on the show. How you doing, man?
Hey, how you going, mate? Yeah, I just I guess I'm down in Australia, but just tuning in, just saw your live feed. But I think the thing I'm really looking forward to is the Jacob Cowan, and he's I'm hoping the Brock Purdy in the off season and them spending time together, whether that will actually transpire into the game. I really got high hopes for him. I know he's a bit undersized and all that stuff, but I just think this is a really good opportunity to show that, the hard work that he's put in, to see, how that can actually, just, if Kyle Shanahan can just lean on his rookies and give them a bit of a chance, I think, I reckon they'll be a big lift for this season.
Yeah, and he's going to have one heck of an opportunity, man, especially early in the year with Demarcus Robinson likely suspended. Brandon Ayuk's going to be injured and not in the lineup. Jacob Cowing has a real shot to make his mark here on this 49ers team early in the year. And that's, like I said at the beginning of the stream, the Jacob Cowing and Jordan Watkins position battle is probably my number one thing I'm looking forward to seeing at training camp.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think, it's just really exciting. Just a bit of it's amazing when you got a bit of a change in the hierarchy with Salah coming in. I don't know, it's defense, it's not offense, but when there's that a sense of maturity, I guess, or professionalism that comes into the building, and that sort of transpires. Especially these young pups that are coming through from last year and this year. Hopefully that's the motivation that we need to sort of start stringing some wins together. It's less about the wins, actually. It's more about how we can. It's about the wins, but I think wins come from confidence, and I think that's what we need. We need a bit more confidence and a bit more buy-in. Not and giving a bit more opportunity to some of our young pups, because effectively in a year or 2 years' time, they're effectively going to be taking the team forward. So,
I'm with you. I'm with you, man. This team has a lot of young talent who's going to see the field this year, and this season's going to go a long way in determining the future of this team in the next 3 to 5 years. This season is extremely important to get a lot of those young guys a lot of run while you have a weaker schedule and can still be in contention. Michael, I got to ask you, man. You said you're from Australia. What time do Niner games? What time do Niner games come on in Australia? Are you there?
Yeah. Yep.
I hear you.
Can you hear me? Yep.
What time? What time do Niner games come on in Australia? I'm curious.
About three in the morning is the first lot of games, and then you'll have the ones at 6 in the morning, and then you'll have a bit of a break, and I think it's. Then there'll be one at lunchtime, I think. This is on the Monday mornings, Monday our time. So, you're sort of going into work and you're listening to the feed or your breakfast time or whatever, and you're getting a bit of a, seeing how everything's all playing out. Obviously, a footy fantasy and all that stuff. That it sort of gets everyone involved. So it's pretty good. And actually, they never used to. Telecast it free to air here, but one of the local stations does it, so they just have a couple of stations. One station just basically has 3 major games through that day. So and then so it's not too bad. So there's a bit more exposure than there was 5-10 years ago. That's for sure.
That's awesome, man. So do you wake up at 3 a.m. for those games? Like, do you wake up every time the Niners are on at 3 a.m.?
So it's rarely they actually do play that early. It's normally at the 6 o'clock one, so that's fine. I'm not sure what it, how it. I think that's your Sunday games, but look, it's occasion most times I do listen and so forth. I think it's a bit it's probably going to hurt your memory back, but I think it's when the Aussie, I think. Jared Hayne, when he came across, when you had Tom Sula, Sula and all that stuff. I think there was a bit of a hype there, and that sort of started the excitement. Sorry, you're right. Started the excitement, I guess, yes, that's sort of how the telecast sort of started heading our way, because he was a bit of a superstar in terms of the rugby league type stuff, but and he was only there, I think, for 1 or 2 years, I think, until and then Chip Kelly came in and what have you, and then we had that new regime with so the new regime. So, but and they've basically, the telecasting has sort of kept going on from that point on. And with the Super Bowls, it's been pretty difficult actually, with the 49ers betting in the Super Bowl both times. It's the last one was really it hurt a lot because we're just so close. We didn't play at our best. I didn't feel, and I can imagine probably that's, I don't know, Brendan Ayuk and as a lot of the people play, and some of the number of the, I guess, key players that put a lot of the stuff hard on their chest. There's still feeling about it. I think what was Williams was saying that he was depressed for a good year and a good year. Just he was in this depression state, because it just really meant so much for him, and I can imagine. So you can it means a lot to a lot of the players. So, but I guess it's hard. You want to do your best, but it's very difficult for some of these players to really be at their best when they're still thinking, had the pain that's hurt them. So, yeah,
for sure. Well, hey, Michael, man, I appreciate you calling in from Australia. That's pretty cool, man. Hey, don't be a stranger. Next time we're live, feel free to come by. And of course, if you're not subscribed to the channel, man, subscribe and check out the content, man.
Brilliant. Yeah, no worries. Take care. Enjoy.
All right. Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye-bye. That was cool. That was awesome. Hearing from Michael all the way out in Australia. That's awesome. That was cool. He said he really became a Niner fan when Jared Hayne was on the scene with the Niners. Of course, he's, the renowned rugby star over in Australia, had his short stint with the 49ers, and that's when Australia was really exposed to 49er football. That's cool. That's awesome. Well, now's your guys' chance to call in and give your thoughts on any of the topics we've discussed this evening or anything else that's on your mind. The StreamYard link is in the chat once again. I see my guy Danny Golding in the chat. He says, "What's up, JD and crew? Just got back home to Phoenix from LA." Shout out to Danny. Mr. Laid Back also in the chat saying, "JD, what up? What's going on, Mr. Laid Back? Thank you for tuning in." That's awesome. That's awesome, man. That was cool to hear from a guy from Australia. That's crazy. If you guys want to call in, now's your chance. The StreamYard link is in the chat, and I want to hear from you guys. So hit the StreamYard link, man. We hit on a lot of topics. Oh, we got a caller. I go out to Eddie. Eddie, you are on Keeping the Faith with JD, man. What's up, man? What's on your mind?
Hi, JD. First off, happy Father's Day Eve, if you will. The only thing that I wanted to bring up, just to kind of stir up a little bit of a conversation, actually. One of the things that you brought up regarding the offseason, getting some more depth on the secondary in case of Demo or anybody from the secondary getting hurt. Would you think of getting someone or like Jair Alexander, who I don't think he's not that expensive. Not that that's a little bit of an issue, but he's still pretty young. Maybe he can bring in that 1 year rental as to like maybe restore his career, something similar like Shavarius Ward, that kind of thing, being a couple years rental as a restoration of career and get a bigger bag elsewhere type of deal.
I like where your head's at. I understand what you're getting at there with the 1 year kind of prove it deal. Let him rehab his image. I get all that. But my whole thing with the Jair Alexander potential acquisition, the Niners just spent their whole offseason moving off of guys with similar concerns to Jair Alexander. Dre Greenlaw, Talanoa Hufanga, guys that are talented but have a lot of injury concerns, a lot of an injury history. This team wants to get younger and healthier, and I don't think going after Jair Alexander addresses those things. Now, if he's healthy, if he's right, yeah, he's a great player. But the dude's never healthy, man. The dude's never healthy.
Yeah, I totally agree. He's a very great player. I really liked how he came up out of the collegiate level. Just simply I think the only time that he played for a full season, I believe, was his third year in, if I'm not mistaken. Someone will have to fact check me on that. But outside of that, I think it was in 23. That was his only full year. But outside of that, nothing there.
I mean, the dude's barely played, man. Like, look, if he's healthy and he wants to come in here on a cheap deal, sure, I would kick the tires. But I feel like a guy like Jair Alexander is still going to feel like he has a lot left in the tank and really want. And look, if he came here, is he going to start over Renardo Green? I don't know. Renardo's been here. He knows the defense, and he's younger. And I don't know. That I'm curious how that would shape up. Jair's going to want to go somewhere where he's definitely going to start, and I think he's going to want a bigger payday than what the Niners would want to give him, given that Jed York really tightened the purse strings this offseason. But look, if they signed him, would I be mad at it? No. But I just think after what we've seen this offseason, is it likely? Probably not.
I think I agree to your point as well. Probably not, considering how many people we've let go with similar health concerns or worse. Hi, David. Worse situation or worse. I think something he could be used more like maybe a camp body type of deal. They always say iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see. Maybe they go after Jair Alexander and I look dumb, but just based off what the Niners have done this offseason, what they've shown me, I don't think they're going to go that direction. We'll see. Anything else on your mind?
Nothing else on the mind right now. Just I think we're gonna have a great year. Winning this division, I think that's a little bit of a reach, but I think that this division with first team to 11, maybe even 12 wins will do just enough to win the division.
I don't think the division's out of reach, man. I think it's realistic given the 49ers schedule. The Rams are playing a first place schedule. Let's not forget that. The Rams, they have Matt Stafford, who is not a spring chicken, who has had injury concerns. I don't think the division's really that far-fetched for the 49ers, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I think it's our division or it's the Rams. I don't see anybody else taking it. Seattle could, but I really don't think they'll take the crown. And Arizona still figuring out that quarterback situation.
For sure. Well, hey, Eddie, man, I appreciate the call. Don't be a stranger. Call in live next time, okay?
I definitely will. Thank you, and I'll give everybody else a shot.
Awesome. Shout out to Eddie for calling in. I'm seeing a few of you guys trickling in. My guy David Yang in the chat says, "What up, faithful?" I see my guy Keys. He says, "What's up, JD? I really like our coaching staff additions. I think it will make a huge difference. You and me both, my man. You and me both." David Yang in the chat says, "A big get for us this year that's gone under the radar is getting Gus Bradley, the guy who created the Legion of Boom." You're not wrong, man. You're not wrong. That hasn't really been talked about very much at all from the week that they acquired Gus Bradley. He's a very, very experienced coach, especially in this system. He knows Robert Saleh, and he's going to be another defensive mind for Saleh to bounce things off of, another sounding board. That's a great pickup. This coaching staff this year, especially with like Brant Boyer on special teams, this Niners coaching staff is night and day different than the last year's, coaching staff. So yeah, I love the Gus Bradley pickup. I really do. I'm with you there. I'm with you. Let's see. Raul, sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but Raul says, "Yeah, we have a good chance of getting the division." I think so, man. With the Niners schedule this year, I really think so. I don't think it's crazy. If they don't win the division, I'm going to be disappointed, quite frankly, just based on the talent on this roster, the experience of their core, and the strength of schedule that the 49ers have. They better win the damn division. I'm sorry, Sam Darnold don't scare me. I'm not worried about Sam Darnold up in Seattle. I'm not. And I'll be in Seattle week 1, and I'm going to let Seahawk fans know about it. I'm going to tell them how I feel about Sam Darnold and their squad. I'm not scared of Sam Darnold. And Kyler Murray, sorry, you got to show me. What's Kyler done in his career? Show me, Kyler. Come on. The only team that's standing in the way of the Niners in the NFC West crown this year is the Los Angeles Rams. And yes, they got Devontae Adams. Yes, they're going to be an improved team. Their defense is getting good, right? Sean McVay is a hell of a coach. Matt Stafford, if he's healthy, is as good as anyone. But I think the way things are shaping up for the 49ers entering the 2025 season, I think it favors the Niners to win the NFC West. I'm saying it right here, right now on June the 14th. Check the tape at the end of the year. We'll see. We'll see. If anyone else wants to call in, the StreamYard link is in the chat. I want to hear from a couple more of you guys before we go ahead and wrap things up. I've been live for almost an hour and a half. Nice, long, lengthy live stream here on a Saturday night. A lot of Niner fans wanting to talk 49er football in June. Nothing wrong with that. I like it. Let me hear from a few more guys, a few more of you faithful before we wrap things up. He says Raw L, but it's Sean C. Okay, I got you. I got you. David Yang says a lot of people talking like the Lambs whooped us, bro, but we were injured and they barely beat us last year. I mean, I can't wait for that Rams game down in LA, Thursday night football early in the year. I can't wait for that one. I can't wait. And yeah, Brock Purdy played his ass off in LA last year. Juwan Jennings had a hell of a game last year. And yeah, they barely beat us down there in LA. So I'm looking forward to that game. That's and historically, like, you know, Kyle Shanahan's done well against the Rams. So we'll see. We'll see there. Mr. Laidback says Kyler Murray looks like a baby in a diaper when he runs on the field. That's funny. That's a good one. Ra L says if Saleh can get the defense back in line, it's a lock. Go rewind the stream a little bit if you weren't here earlier. Rewind the stream, man. I gave you guys my thoughts on how this Niners 2025 defense could very well show some similarities to that elite 2019 group. And I don't think I'm crazy. Maybe I'm crazy. You guys tell me. But if you guys weren't here, go rewind the stream or check the replay afterward. I gave you guys my thoughts, my breakdown on why this 2025 group could really resemble that 2019 unit. I really think so. I really, really do. I don't see anybody backstage. So if you guys want to call in, now's your shot, man. Now's your shot. The StreamYard link is in the chat. Check it out. And again, if you guys are interested in more 49ers content, behind the scenes stuff, an awesome community chat where we're very interactive and monthly giveaways, check out the Patreon where you guys can sign up and see a lot more 49ers content over there. Patreon.com/keepingthefaith. Check it out. It'll be worth your time. If you like this live stream, if you like the channel, the videos that I put out, you guys will love the Patreon, man, especially as the season gets closer. I have a lot of good things planned for the Patreon. So check it out if you want exclusive 49ers content from me that you won't get here on YouTube. Check it out. Patreon.com/keepingthefaith. Wanted to throw that in there as well one more time. Salvador says you should go live every Saturday. I try to go live every Friday. That's usually the goal. But I've been having some internet issues this week. That's why you guys haven't seen any content from me lately. But you know, I'm trying to go live at least every Friday. And I got some news coming in terms of the consistency of videos and live streams and things like that. I got some things in the works. I'll let you guys know very soon. We have a caller backstage, and we would like to welcome Papa J to the show. Papa J, what's up, man? How you doing tonight?
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Not too shabby, man. What's on your mind with these Niners?
All right. So I just subscribed to your channel, and I just found you searching through YouTube. So I'm a new subscriber, and I appreciate you doing this and coming out here and talking to us on such a slow day and such a slow time of the season right now, in between the off season or OTAs and mini camp or whatever they call it, and into training
camp and the preseason. Yeah, well, I appreciate you for subscribing, man. I appreciate you for finding the channel. I'm not sure, you just found me, so I don't know if you know my background, but I started making Niners content here on YouTube in 2009 in between two different channels. I was very consistent before during like the 2017 through 2021. And then I took a little bit of an extended break, but as of this past January, I've been back And so, yeah, thank you for subscribing, man. So, again, what's on your mind with these Niners, man? There's always stuff to talk about with the Niners, no matter what time of year it is, really.
There's a lot of drama, definitely.
Mhm.
Well, let's start out with the drama. Did you hear about BA and TO having a little talk with I think Frank Gore was there, and I think maybe Lynch or somebody was out
It was
there.
Frank. It
I
was
don't know.
Frank Gore, Patrick Willis, and he was talking
Patrick
to Terrell
Willis, okay.
Owens. Yeah,
And
I did hear about
TO.
that.
Man, you know what? I got to give credit to To. If that's what they were talking about, his behavior in the off the field, then I got to give it to To, man, because he's stepping up, going through what he went through, and understanding that his behavior didn't go the way that he thought it was going to go, and learning from that, and the maturity of it. Man, I give credit to To, and I also give credit to BA, because from what I hear is that he kind of kept his mouth shut and didn't say anything and just sat there and listened to it, and that shows maturity. That shows that you're trying to gain wisdom. And what I'm trying to get out with this is that if he gains the wisdom and he gains the knowledge and he listens to people from the past and he plays the way that he was playing before, this dude can be lights out for us.
I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall for that conversation. And we don't know exactly what To was telling Ayuk, but as you mentioned, Ayuk stood there and didn't say anything, and that goes to tell you that Terrell Owens was definitely giving him some solid advice that he needed to listen to, and Ayuk was taking it all in, and I like that approach from Brandon Ayuk. Maybe To was giving him some solid advice, saying, "Hey, I made these mistakes back in the day. You're kind of headed down a similar path. This is maybe what you should do." If he's listening to 50-year-old Terrell Owens, I would much prefer that over him listening to advice from 30-year-old Terrell Owens. I'll put it that.
Yeah, definitely. And what also sends good vibes is that Patrick Willis and Frank Gore didn't say anything, because if you're in a heated conversation and somebody's talking to somebody and they're not making sense or they're not breaking through, then somebody else is going to intervene and say, "Hey, you know what? This is what he's trying to say." Or but both of them kept their mouth shut because they understood that he was getting through to him, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. I think you're onto something there. I think he was getting through to him and giving him some good words of wisdom, man. Papa J, anything else that you want to hit on before we go ahead and wrap things up here tonight?
Yeah, definitely. One last thing, we are going to win the Super Bowl. We're going to go into the playoffs healthy, because such an easy schedule that we have. While we're playing, I think it's the Browns and I forget
the Jaguars, the Titans, the
right.
Colts.
The Rams are going to be playing the Ravens and Kansas City or something, right? Or and somebody else big time, that are hard hitting, and that's 3 games right there that we could be ahead in, and I think we're gonna we're gonna win the division, so we're gonna and a conference, which is gonna give us a bye, and that's an extra time for us to get healthy, because we have in the 14th week. That's when we have our bye, which is very long time. But in between the 14th week and at the beginning of the season, we have actually little mini buys, because we're playing 5 prime time games that will buy us a little bit of time and have mini buys in between. And we're going to get help when BA comes back in mid-season, and Robinson's going to be coming back. If he gets suspended, he'll be coming back in a quarter of the season. That's going to give us a lot of help right there. And
The only thing I don't like about the Niners having such an easy schedule is that when it does come time for the playoffs, they aren't going to be as battle tested. They're not going to have gone up against a ton of quality opponents, and that might leave them, a little bit unprepared for what they're going to face come playoff time. Now, yes, Kyle Shanahan's been there, done that. This core of this team has been there and done that, but there is a lot of guys on this roster who have not been there and done that quite yet. And so that's the only concern I have when it comes to the 49ers and their easy schedule this year.
yeah. On the flip side of it, I mean, half of it I think is easy, but we're still got to face some good teams. So we're still facing the Rams. They're a great team. And some other teams I can't think of it the top of my head right now, but I don't think it's going to be that easy. But I think you're right. You're right. Especially because we're going to be overloaded with rookies, so they're not going to be really battle tested. Especially in defense, we're gonna have to start 4 or 5 rookies or something like that.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of rookies, especially on the defensive side of the ball. You're going to have a lot of young players, man. And the only good thing is you have a solid core group of veterans who have been there, done it. You have Robert Saleh, who has been there, done it. And so there's a lot to be encouraged about. And that's what makes this season so exciting to me is you have that core group of guys who who you can depend on and rely on to get the job done. And you also have a lot of unknown. And so this season's going to be really fun to me, man. Hey, Papa J, appreciate you calling, man. Don't be a stranger. Call in next time we're live, okay?
Oh, definitely. Thank you, JD. You take care, brother.
Have a good night. Shout out to Papa J for tuning in this evening. That was cool. First time caller, Papa J. He just found the channel. All right, guys. I think that is a good place to leave it. We have been live now for an hour and a half. So I think we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. I want to let you guys enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. I'm going to do the same. Hope everyone enjoys their Father's Day tomorrow. Again, shout out to all the dads out there. I hope you guys get some cool 49er gifts tomorrow from your kids. That'd be awesome, right? That's what dads want, 49er stuff. That's what all dads should want on Father's Day, 49er gear. That's what I would want. You know what I mean? So I will be back with more content soon. I'll be back doing more lives very soon. And I'll be coming up with like a set schedule of when I'm going to be live. So you guys know when you can expect me to be here on YouTube talking Niners, especially as we get closer to training camp and the regular season. But of course, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you have your notifications on so you don't miss anything. And again, check out the Patreon if you want more 49ers content from me. Patreon.com/keepingthefaith. Hope everyone had, enjoyed the stream tonight. I hope everyone had a good evening. And I will be back very, very soon with that. Let's go Niners. And I will see you guys next time.